one of the big kind of things that stuck out to me with the whole look, I think it's disgusting how like there's this whole conflict about was it a sexual frustration or a hate crime. I just don't give a like. I understand court of law. There's a whole go through your process, man, but you can't tell me that wasn't racially motivated. I try not to have too heavily of an opinion because I understand there's a lot more. There's always there's facts to the case, and I'm more concerned with the facts. Not about not having an opinion, but making sure my opinion doesn't override what might be true. One thing that stuck out to me is sex worker, not sex worker. I don't. My understanding's not there. Salon, Asian spa, whatever. I don't give a fuck. My point is, the commonality of these women were that industry, that working that the industries that most Asian women who come to a country that they're not very familiar with take up to provide for their family. I don't care if it's sex work or not. My mother works in is a nail technician. She's been doing that since I was a kid. That put me through school. That fed me. That put a roof over my head. That's so when I think I made a point, but yeah, when everyone starts sharing things, I don't know. I feel like at this age, I'm so detached from like having to share all these things. And when I see them, it makes me really sad. And I think that this is like, it's good that I've got this podcast as that's my outlet. I'm not sitting there sharing every freaking thing about. It's just, I don't know. Does it make me less of a person because I'm just so unbothered to share things? Tell me. If I am, I guess I am then. But the point being, I have this outlet. This is what I could say. And yeah, the big thing was I saw my mother and all that. Yeah, these jobs that it's not a situation that's bad and needs to be fixed in a sense that like all these Asian women are working these. No, but this is life's wasn't meant to be easy. Life's hard. You come, you want to live this, provide this secure life for your children, and you take up a job where you're holding people's feet every day. A lot to be said about class and things like that, but yeah. And so I just think that's a good kind of perspective into like again our position as Asians in society. And look where we've done it very well, guys. Like we've worked hard, we've studied hard, we've put in the hours, and we're doctors and professionals. We're skilled in. A good friend of mine told me, "Hey, the Asian era is coming up. Good for them. Like I'd like to see that. We deserve that. I work hard for it." But with this whole thing, I feel like there definitely needs to be more done. I think being in the position I am, sitting here in Australia, where I've only kind of watched it happen to everyone else. I know it's a fact, happened to everyone else. Doesn't happen to me, but I watched it happen to everyone else. And just because it doesn't happen to me doesn't mean I shouldn't be concerned. I'm very concerned, but I also feel a bit clueless about how I can do the right thing, get involved, make sure I'm not providing the wrong opinion. I try to be real. But when that was like the first. That was like the big kind of, the biggest, I think, the thing that got the most news attention for the Asian community. But we've got way more. And the thing is, I know for a fact that while I'm talking right now, I'll go back on my phone, boom, another Asian hate crime, another Asian hate crime. You've got someone else who just kicks an Asian man out of the wheelchair. You got this is me rambling, but just like how much it's been put into my face. You have the Chinese Taiwanese grandmother who was attacked by that white bloke, and she beat him with a wooden plank. And this is a comment that stood out to me, was like when you watch that video, she's like enraged, she's like saying he hit me, which is the translation that I was getting from the comments. And so a comment said like you can see how fired up in attack mode she is. And it was only until the police officer kind of tried to calm her down that she broke down crying. I've always, whenever I see those emotions, like there's this level of like, oh, you put on this rage, and then when you people switch emotions, I'm used to more feeling like, oh, Like, why are you acting brand new? You were just all enraged, now you're crying. But like the comment was, you can see that she finally felt safe, and that's why she broke down crying. And I looked at them, and I just went like, you know, an elderly Asian and American has lived such a long life and done so much to be in the position they are. You know, to be there. I just couldn't like we don't want our old people to go through things. You know what I mean? They've been through things. It's like if you see like in that I saw, you know, she wasn't Vietnamese, but in that lady I saw, what if that was a Vietnamese older uncle, someone else's grandfather or something. Yeah, the guy's been through a war, he's a refugee, whatever it is, and here is his life threatened again. Come on. The amount of post-traumatic stress disorder after that is fucking harrowing. And then we have a situation, people just blatantly being killed. It's like, shit, man. Like, sometimes I sit and I was just thinking, like, can you imagine, like, you ever think your life was going to end like that after everything you've been through? Like, let's say you've struggled and toiled, you've worked hard, whatever you had to do, right, to get to this country, to provide for your family, and now they've been able to set down roots, and, you know, you're old, you've your grandchildren. Yeah, there was another Vietnamese gentleman, I think his name's Nguyen or something like that. 55-year-old male, 4 kids, 4 grandkids, like things like that. You know, you're old, you're in your 50s, your 60s, 70s, and you think, yeah, I've done all this, I've risked all that, I've hopped on the boat, I've fought in wars, whatever it is. This isn't even just for Asians. I think this is just for all, you know, ethnics in Western societies. We have your Arabs as well. They've come from like hella war-torn countries. And like to think like, you in those last moments, in their last moments, think they're sitting there going, "Are you fucking kidding me? After everything I've been through, I've done it all, I've risked it all to get here, and like provide, and I'm enjoying this. I'm finally able to kind of, you know, look at the fruits of my labours. As my children are happy raising their children, and now I'm gonna fucking die here on the street like this. It's so demoralizing. It's like these people are like the most dignified people, and I think this section's gonna wrap up in a sec. But like, a point out thing I saw was, I think it was an Asian, I think it was Korean American, mayor or councilman, whatever. He got up and he put his shirt up and was like, you know, he was in the army. He's got all these scars. Like, am I not American enough? And you know, you see that with like a lot of Asians who take up roles in the police force, in the army, and things like that, because they want to be in a position where like, you can't take this away from me. You know, you can't come up to me with the way that I look and call me all these things and make me act like I'm the other, because I'm fighting for this country. You know, I'm putting my life on the line, and that's in American and in Australia as well. It's a divisive time, and I think the world's not doing enough. Like, we've come too far, too smart to like be able to stuck in a time where we act upon this identity. You know, we look and we move. Whatever happened, like, so much more. You know, back then, yeah, when the country was so much divided, I understand why when you see an Asian guy, you go, yes, it's definitely someone from the enemy. But now it's like, how do you know? You know, like, even if, let's say, you know, if China was so much responsible for everything, and all your hate is like correctly attributed, right? How do you know this Asian person that you're looking at is, number one, Chinese? We all look the same, according to you. And number two, if they are Chinese, where they stand in this, like, and even if they aren't Chinese American or Chinese whatever, like, again, how sure are you? You know, you don't know, and it's so disappointing to see we're a society where people still act on their don't know. You know, they want to be so sure. You read all these like letters that are sent to hate mail and things like that, and you know, again, there's a level of, you know, when you're in the media, you understand the algorithm wants to show you the shit that enrages you, the shit that you click on. I understand that, but it's not to say the shit isn't happening, and the fact that it's happening is concern. Concern is like a very minimalized word. I don't know. I speak in very minimalist terms. I was trying to like use words that mean less, but yeah. If I'm calling it a concern, it is a fucking catastrophe. That's what it actually is, a catastrophe.